I'm HOWQUA, and you're watching the AU Review. It's been awesome. I mean, my first time on an international stage, so I came over with my manager, and we basically found out quite late that we were actually on the showcases and stuff over here. So three and a half weeks ago, we decided to put together a benefit show to get us over here. So that was like last weekend now. And we put on 2 little shows in Melbourne and Collingwood at the House Bricks. So that basically paid for our flights over here. We had amazing support from friends and family and fans and all that. So here we are on the other side of the world playing music. So
it's all happened very quickly then in that case.
It has happened very quickly. I mean, we came over here with just 2 shows to play, and 4 days I'm in Toronto. So I ended up playing 6 shows. So it all bits and pieces popped up when we got over here. But it's been amazing to not only meet the other Australian artists and artists from all around the world, but also see some great music and just check out the city. It's a beautiful city.
It's a great city. I mean, with you being from Melbourne, I'm sure you can feel right at home amongst a lot of these areas.
Oh, so much. Yeah, it's just the general vibe from the music to the people to just the look of the streets. It does have a really Melbourne sort of vibe to it, doesn't it?
And today, just the weather. I mean, this isn't typical of Toronto, the weather today. It's absolutely stunning today.
Yeah.
It's so everyone's out and about and enjoying it. And here we are sitting in here drinking tequila and
Caesars, I think they are. tomato juice and clam juice.
Clamato.
Clamato, that's right. So sort of like a Bloody Mary, but with a Toronto spin on it. So.
A little bit of Tabasco, the usual. It's great. So a good kick in the pants in the first thing in the morning.
Yeah, definitely.
They're long days here though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's been really flat out. I mean, from the moment the flight from Australia, obviously, to make it here is quite a mission.
What's the route you had to take to get to Toronto?
So we went to LA, and then we had a
direct Melbourne, LA.
Melbourne to LA, and then we had stop off at LA airport for I think 6 hours. And then went from there to Toronto, and then woke up the next day and had a show. And then since then this is the 4th day we've been here. Since then, and as I said before, sort of had 6 shows jam-packed in there, so it's kind of, you don't really get time to get over your jet lag. It's just
just got to keep going.
So you just got to keep going, and these Caesars are good for that.
that will definitely help. It will definitely help. How are the shows here differing from what you do in Australia? Are you at a point where you're playing with anyone else back home?
I've been playing some shows with full band, but obviously traveling around and stuff, the logistics of I came over here with just me and my manager, and as I said, putting on those shows, it's just sort of not realistic at this point to travel with a full band. So I drop it down to a bit of an acoustic vibe and do it that way. And I suppose on these showcases, it's not only about playing on these new stages to new crew and stuff like that, but also obviously there's a lot of industry people there, so I suppose it's just a taste of the core of the songwriting and the core of the songs, and hopefully people get something out of. Hopefully people get a little bit of a feel or whatever, and see what happens.
And tell us a little bit about your latest music.
The latest music, well, I recorded an EP with Hayden Kellnan, so I worked on producing that with him, and spent quite some time actually, probably. Would have been 8 months or so we worked together, and I released that in Australia at the end of last year. So it was released in Australia and New Zealand, and we're looking at releasing it this year internationally as well. So,
and this something like Canadian Music Week being the first step in that process.
Definitely, for sure. Putting it out to an international audience and seeing the reactions we get and things like that. So.
Is touring Canada, touring the States and places in Europe and etc. I mean, is that something you're looking to do? Are you looking to spend more time abroad?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's something that I suppose all the bits in the planets are aligning to make that possible, which is really exciting. So a lot of opportunities to take this internationally and tour and North America and around. So this is definitely heading in the right direction. There's stages that to be able to make it possible to travel around doing the music thing. So
Especially when you're doing it solo, it's doable. As you mentioned, when you've got a band, it's a lot more difficult to jump on a plane and go to a couple of shows.
Everything turns into five people doing it, I suppose. So it must be so hard for people to travel with a full band and 5 air flights. You got to pay for 5 flights. You got to pay for more people in the hotel room or whatever, and all that sort of stuff. So hats off to guys that can do it with 5 of them, whatever, because it's even just solo, it's quite a challenge. So.
And you mentioned that there was 8 months working on the EP that came out of last year, so they're almost dated songs now. Are you already starting to write new material and work out what's coming up next?
Yeah, well, I played a new one tonight as well. There's a couple of out of the showcase here I just did. Played 5 tracks, and 3 of them were songs that are not on that EP. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's definitely some new creative juices flowing, which is cool. Yeah.
Is there anything that's kind of happening for you differently this time when you're writing music? Now that you have made an album, do you approach it any differently?
Well, I mean, the EP was 6 tracks, and that was always supposed to be just an introduction or a stepping stone to building towards that debut album. And I suppose for me, the writing process is very much, you try to put yourself in a space where you can get inspired or you can write, but at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes it's, I don't know, sitting on the couch at your friend's place and you start writing a song, you just sort of don't know when it's going to come together. So I don't know if there's so much of a process of the writing, but more just sort of understanding the feel of when something's buzzing inside you, and you sort of just go with that wave a bit more. I suppose I'm starting to understand that and not sort of say, oh, I got to go do this. I'm sort of like, well, something's happening. Let's go with this and see what comes of it. So,
and when someone does come to a HOWQUA show or listen to you on record, what experience do you hope people have with that?
I suppose it's I'd like to think my songwriting's pretty honest, and it's sort of feelings or experiences I've had. So if people can connect with that in their own way and take something away from it, and just connect with that human element that we're all sort of in this together. We've all got these different challenges we go through and life experiences, whatever. If people can take something out of that and connect with it and get a bit of a feeling from the music, whether that's crying or cheering or I don't know, just I suppose a connection with the audience is really important for me.
And what happens when you get back home?
When I get back home, there'll be a bunch of Australian shows. So I've got a tour coming up. So
can you plug that yet? Do you?
Probably not at the plugging stages, but I can plug the website, which is howquamusic.com, and that'll have all the dates on it when they're released. So, but yeah, that's Fantastic. In the works at the moment. So.
Well, wish you the best here in Canada, and until next time, thanks very much for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Larry.